Hi, boys and girls. It's Winston Bloomfield here again to talk to you today about the war in Israel and Palestine. Wow. Let's see. 1947, 2023. Not much has changed, has it? Actually, one thing has changed. The Jews have taken up a lot of land that they didn't have in 1947 up until now. Looks like they've just been taking land, creating little buffer zones around the land that they originally had, and then saying, we need buffer zones just to protect us. And then they start building on those buffer zones. And then they say, well, now these are part of our country, these buffer zones, because we built on them. So these buffer zones need buffer zones, because these aren't buffer zones anymore. They're part of our state. So we need buffer zones here. So then they build on those buffer zones and keep expanding and expanding. Meanwhile, tens of thousands to millions of Palestinians are being thrown out of their homes, kicked out of their own country, being called subhuman, just like the Nazis did to the Jews. It's kind of funny. The Jews are doing to the Palestinians exactly what the Nazis did to the Jews, except for the extermination camps. They just drop bombs on hospitals and schools and on actual, like, homeless shelters, which is pretty barbaric. Like, take a look in the mirror there, you fucking Zionist pigs. What the fuck are you guys doing? Bombing schools and hospitals and shit with little kids in them to get one guy. Yeah, I heard about the guy. You said, oh, we blew up this homeless shelter and we got this guy. He planned the attack on October 7th or whenever the fuck it was. Yeah, October 7th, that attack when Hamas attacked Israel. He was one of the guys who planned it. So we killed him and about 200 other people who were completely innocent. And a lot of them were children. I don't see the logic there. I think Israel is just really insecure. These Jews are really insecure. They want to show that they're strong because they're so humiliated by how they were just pretty much just treated like shit for their entire existence since 4000 BC when they were enslaved by the Egyptians for thousands of years and then wandered around in the desert in fucking circles, accomplishing nothing, following Moses apparently, according to the Bible. And so yeah, so the thing about the Jews, the thing that Hitler had said, and that the way that Hitler was inspired to hate the Jews, because anti-Semitism was around way before Hitler was. Where do you think he learned it? Yeah, so the Jews have never formed a state, their own civilization. They always form a state within a state, just like they do here where I live in New Jersey. They form a state within a state. They're in the state in New Jersey, but they have their own little Hasidic Jew state in here where they don't have to pay taxes. I'm not allowed to go there because I'm not a Hasidic Jew. I'm not welcome. I'm not allowed to live there. I'm not allowed to be a part of their community. They have literally built a state within the state. I don't know any other group that is allowed to do that and get away without paying taxes and have it actually be legitimate. And they are buying up a lot of land. A lot of people are not happy about it. They're chasing a lot of people out because they have so much money and power because they don't have to pay taxes. They got all that extra money that we pay taxes for. They get to keep it and buy land and kick us out of our houses and our apartments. So that's what the Jews have been doing here in New Jersey. But what they're doing in Palestine is pretty much the same thing. They're not buying any land. They're just blowing shit up, and they're using Hamas as an excuse to annihilate all the Palestinians. That's what they're doing. Why they're doing it, I think it's just because they want to flex their muscles and say, yeah, we're Jews, we have our own state, we're actually a competent civilization of people, when that's actually not the truth. You guys were handed that shit. You guys were handed everything that you have was gifted and given to you. Like you're a little baby and we just gave you a bunch of gold and fucking silver that you didn't earn. You didn't earn any of it. You guys have gotten your asses kicked throughout history. You were enslaved by the Egyptians. The anti-Semitism in the 1700s, 1600s, from the 1200s to the 1800s, anti-Semitism was all over the place. And then everybody, Adolf Hitler comes along, everybody wants to point at him and say he's the, he created anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism has been around way before Hitler was even a fucking thought in his dad's fucking ballsack, okay? He learned to hate Jews because of all the anti-Semitism that was around him when he was growing up as a little boy. And that's how he became elected to power. Now, the Jews have never formed their own civilization. They've never formed their own state. They've always relied on other states to take care of them. They've always moved into other countries and other states and formed their own little civilizations and don't allow anybody in there. And then they also seem to get blamed for the stock market crash of 1929, because a lot of people think that share capital was in the ascendant, and bit by bit the stock market began to take control of the entire global stock exchange, and the Jews basically ran off with all the money. They did some kind of pyramid scheme to make the entire global economy crash so that a couple of Jewish families could get extremely wealthy and live for generations and generations, never have to work again, and basically also run the world. So that's what we're dealing with the Jews. So go Palestine. That's what Winston Bloomfield says. Go Palestine. Go. I'm not going to say go Hamas because they, say death to America a lot, and I live in America, so I'm not a big fan of the Hamas government's politics, but if you're fighting Israel, go get them. Do your best. Because, honestly, I'll say it, nobody else will say it, but we're all sick of the fucking Jews and all the problems they cause and the burden they are to the world and the rest of humanity. Jews, get your shit together or just go away and be annihilated and go extinct, because you can't support yourselves. You guys can't stay on your own 2 feet. You cannot support yourselves without the help of the entire fucking world coming together to save your ass and give you money, give you weapons, give you food and military aid and all this shit so you can have your own state. If you guys can find a place to defend yourselves and build up your own economy, gather your own resources, and create your own military, that would be great. You've had about 10,000 years to do that, and you haven't done it. So, I don't know. What's the problem? Get your shit together, or get the fuck out. Free Palestine. Peace.